Imagine waking up one morning and your brain feels different, sharper, like someone turned up the contrast on reality itself. Your energy doesn't spike and crash anymore, it just flows, steady, relentless, almost alien. Now, we've been told carbs are fuel, the foundation, the thing that keeps us going. Take them away, and logically, you should collapse, right? Your brain needs glucose, your muscles need glycogen. Without carbs, you're running on empty. At least that's what we've been told. But beneath the surface, something far more remarkable is happening. Your body isn't shutting down, it's switching operating systems. And the truth, most people quit right before the magic happens. Here's what nobody tells you. The first week is a biological battlefield. Your cells are literally panicking, searching for their usual fuel source. And during this chaos, 90% of people throw in the towel. They think they're failing. They think something's wrong with them. But what's actually happening is your body is remembering an ancient survival code written into your DNA millions of years ago. Because here's the thing, we're not designed to eat carbs every 3 hours. For 99% of human history, we didn't. Our ancestors went days, sometimes weeks, between finding fruit or starchy roots. And their bodies adapted in ways that modern science is only now beginning to understand. They had to. It was survival. But here's the real twist. What happens in the first 72 hours might be more important than what happens after the full month. And if you don't understand why your body feels like it's falling apart on day 3, you'll never make it to the breakthrough on day 7. You'll bail. You'll go back to bread and pasta and tell yourself, yeah, that keto thing just isn't for me. So let's start at the beginning. Hour 1, the moment you cut carbs completely, because what happens next isn't what you'd expect. Day 1 feels normal, maybe even easy. You're motivated, fired up. You've cleaned out the pantry, tossed the bread, dumped the pasta. You're ready for this. But then day 2 hits, and suddenly you feel like you've been drugged. Your head's foggy, your body's heavy, you're irritable, exhausted, and if someone offers you a slice of bread, you might actually cry. This isn't weakness. This isn't your body rejecting the diet. This is withdrawal, literal physiological withdrawal. And here's why. For years, maybe decades, your body has been running on quick-burning glucose. Carbs break down fast, flood your bloodstream with sugar, spike your insulin, and give you that immediate energy hit. Your cells have become lazy. They've forgotten how to do anything else. They're like spoiled children who've only ever been given candy. They don't know what to do when you hand them broccoli. But now you've cut off the supply, and your body's first response is panic. Science shows that within 12 to 18 hours of your last carb, your liver's glycogen stores start to deplete. Think of glycogen as your body's emergency gas tank. Small, limited, and completely dependent on carbs to refill. Once it's empty, your cells start sending out distress signals. Where's the glucose? We need glucose. Give us glucose now. Here's what's actually happening. Your body is switching from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. Imagine you've been driving a car that only runs on premium gasoline for your entire life. Suddenly, you're told it can also run on diesel. Cleaner, longer lasting, more efficient. But first, you've got to flush out the old fuel system. That's the first 72 hours. That foggy, flu-like feeling. That's called the keto flu. And it's not a sickness, it's a transition. Researchers have discovered that during this phase, your liver starts producing ketone bodies, molecules made from breaking down fat. But here's the catch. Your brain hasn't fully adapted to using them yet. It's like learning a new language. Your neurons are stuttering, trying to figure out how to run on this new fuel source. They're speaking English, but the ketones are arriving in French. There's a translation delay. And this is where most people quit. They interpret the discomfort as danger. They think their body is screaming, "Stop, you're hurting me." But it's not. It's evolution. It's your body waking up an ancient metabolic pathway that's been dormant for years, maybe your whole life. But then, somewhere between day 5 and day 7, something incredible happens. The fog lifts. And when it does, you realize you've crossed a threshold most people never even knew existed. Day 7. You wake up, and for the first time in maybe years, you're not hungry, not in that gnawing, desperate way. Your stomach's quiet, your mind's clear, and strangest of all, you have energy, real energy, not the jittery, caffeine-fueled kind, something deeper, something steady. Instead of feeling weaker from starving your body of carbs, you start to feel a strange surge of power. Here's why. You've officially entered ketosis. Your liver is now churning out ketones at full capacity, and your brain has finally learned to use them. In fact, ketones are such a clean-burning fuel that many neuroscientists call them superfuel for the brain. They produce less oxidative stress, fewer free radicals, and more stable energy than glucose ever could. But the most powerful transformation happening right now, it's invisible. It's called autophagy. And it might be the single most important biological process you've never heard of. Autophagy literally means self-eating, but don't let that creep you out. Think of it as your body's internal recycling system. When you stop flooding your system with glucose and insulin drops, your cells activate microscopic janitors. These janitors go room to room, mitochondria to mitochondria, breaking down damaged proteins, clearing out cellular junk, and recycling the parts to build new, healthy structures. This is your body cleaning house at the deepest level. Old, dysfunctional cells that were contributing to inflammation, brain fog, and accelerated aging, they're being dismantled and removed. Imagine you've been living in a cluttered house for years, never throwing anything away, papers stacked on every surface, broken furniture in the corner, dust everywhere, and suddenly, a team of expert cleaners shows up and works through the night. You wake up, and everything is spotless. That's autophagy. In 2016, a Japanese scientist named Yoshinori Osumi won the Nobel Prize for discovering the mechanisms of autophagy. Why? Because this process is linked to longevity, cancer prevention, and neurodegenerative disease protection. This isn't fringe science. This is Nobel Prize-winning biology happening inside your body right now. And while autophagy is working its magic, your body's also become a fat-burning machine. Without carbs to burn, your metabolism has no choice but to tap into fat stores, not just dietary fat, but the stubborn fat you've been carrying for years, the love handles, the belly fat, the fat that refused to budge no matter how many calories you counted. By week 2, you're burning between 150 and 200 grams of fat per day. That's not just weight loss. That's metabolic freedom. Quick question for you. Have you ever gone more than a day without carbs? Drop a comment and let me know. I'm genuinely curious how many of you have felt that keto breakthrough moment, or if you bailed before day 7. No judgment, just curious. But here's where it gets wild. Around day 10 to 14, people report something almost supernatural. Mental clarity, laser focus. Some describe it as the fog lifting permanently, and science backs this up. Ketones produce 28% more ATP, cellular energy per molecule, than glucose. Your brain is literally running more efficiently. It's like upgrading from a dial-up connection to fiber optic internet. You're not just losing weight. You're not just dieting. You're rewiring your metabolism at the mitochondrial level. You're remembering what your body was designed to do before modern agriculture, before sugar, before we started eating every 3 hours, like we're stoking a fire that's about to go out. But wait, there's more happening than just fat loss and mental clarity, because what comes next is where zero-carb eating reveals benefits that even researchers didn't fully expect. Week 3 hits, and you start noticing things you didn't sign up for. Your skin looks different, clearer, tighter. Maybe there's a glow you haven't seen since your 20s. Why? Because insulin, the hormone that spikes every time you eat carbs, is also a major driver of inflammation and sebum production. Without those constant insulin surges, your skin gets a break. Acne fades, puffiness reduces, dark circles soften. You're not using fancy creams or expensive serums. You're just not assaulting your skin from the inside anymore. But it doesn't stop there. Your sleep improves. You fall asleep faster, wake up less, and actually feel rested. No more staring at the ceiling at 2 in the morning, wondering why your brain won't shut off. Researchers have discovered that stable blood sugar throughout the night means fewer cortisol spikes, no more 3 a.m. wake-ups. Your body isn't jolting itself awake to deal with crashing glucose levels. Your anxiety, it starts to quiet down. Turns out, the blood sugar roller coaster you've been riding for years was fueling not just hunger, but mood swings, anxiety, and irritability. You thought you were just a stressed person. Maybe you blamed your job, your relationships, your genetics, but a lot of it was just your body reacting to constant metabolic chaos. And here's one nobody talks about. Inflammation markers drop dramatically. Studies show that people in ketosis experience significant reductions in C-reactive protein, a key marker of systemic inflammation. This means less joint pain, faster recovery, and a body that's no longer constantly fighting itself. That stiffness you felt climbing out of bed every morning, starting to fade. Those sore knees, not screaming quite as loud. Now, I know what you're thinking, but won't I lose all my muscle without carbs? This is the fear that keeps people trapped. So let's address it head on. Here's the truth. Your body is smart. It doesn't want to break down muscle. Muscle is expensive metabolically. It takes energy to maintain. What it wants is fat. Fat is storage. Fat is meant to be burned. And when you're eating adequate protein, around 1 gram per pound of body weight, and training properly, your body has zero reason to catabolize muscle. In fact, studies on ketogenic diets show that participants maintain lean muscle mass just as effectively as those on high-carb diets, sometimes better because growth hormone levels increase in ketosis. Your body is protecting what it needs and burning what it doesn't. But what about the danger? Isn't zero carb extreme? Look, ketosis is not ketoacidosis. Ketoacidosis is a life-threatening condition that only occurs in uncontrolled diabetics when both blood sugar and ketones skyrocket out of control. Nutritional ketosis, what you're doing, is a natural, controlled metabolic state. Your ketone levels sit between 0.5 and 3 millimoles per liter. Safe, sustainable, backed by evolutionary biology. Our ancestors lived in ketosis for extended periods. Their bodies thrived on it. Yours can too. I'm not here to sell you a miracle. I'm here to translate the science, and the science is clear. For most people, a zero carb or very low carb approach isn't just safe, it's therapeutic. So you've made it through the first month. You've adapted, you've transformed. But here's the real question. What does this mean for the rest of your life? 30 days of zero carbs isn't just a diet experiment. It's a biological reboot. You've proven to yourself that you're not dependent on constant feeding. You've unlocked metabolic flexibility, the ability to switch between fuel sources seamlessly. And that's a superpower in a world designed to keep you addicted to sugar. Because here's what most people don't realize. Modern chronic disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, heart disease, all share one common thread. Insulin resistance, decades of high carb eating, constant snacking, and blood sugar spikes have made our cells numb to insulin's signal. We're drowning in fuel, but starving at the cellular level. It's like screaming at someone who's wearing noise-canceling headphones. The message isn't getting through. But you've just reversed that process. You've given your cells a break. You've restored insulin sensitivity. You've reminded your body that it's capable of thriving on its own stored energy. This isn't just about looking better or fitting into smaller jeans. This is about reclaiming your metabolic health, your longevity, your cognitive function, your quality of life as you age. Think about it. What if the brain fog you've been blaming on stress or age was just glucose instability? What if the afternoon crashes were just your body begging for a break from carbs? What if the extra weight wasn't a willpower problem, but a hormonal one? Now, do you need to eat zero carbs forever? No. And honestly, most people don't. But what you've learned is invaluable. You've learned that carbs are optional, not essential. You've learned that hunger is often just habit, not need. And you've learned that your body is far more capable and resilient than you ever gave it credit for. Some people come out of this 30 days and reintroduce carbs strategically around workouts on special occasions in small amounts. Others realize they feel so good that they don't want to go back. There's no right answer, but now you have the data. You know what your body feels like running on fat versus running on sugar. You can make an informed choice instead of being a slave to cravings you don't understand. Remember this: moderation protects, elimination heals. Sometimes you need to go to the extreme to reset the baseline. You need to experience the absence of something to understand its true impact on your life. You're not the same person you were 30 days ago. Biologically, cellularly, mentally, you've transformed. And that transformation is permanent if you choose to honor it. If this video changed the way you think about carbs, do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because we're just getting started on this journey of health optimization. And here's the big one. Share this video with someone who's struggling, someone who thinks they need carbs to survive, someone who's ready for a change. Your body is waiting. The question is, are you ready to let it remember what it was built to do?